My name is Farzana Nasser. I'm a partner at Chameleon Collective, and I'm excited to announce this session on how to build better baskets with AI. I'd like to welcome Diane Keng, the CEO and co-founder of Breinify, up to the stage.
So from day one, our mission has to be to bring AI to the forefront and to make predictive capabilities accessible by all. The theme for this conference couldn't have come at a better time. Marketers today have to perfect the art of listening, the science of journeys, and refine all those customer experiences more than ever in order to thrive. AI and personalization, combined with a marketer's curiosity, means impactful experiences for any moment. With a little help and a little courage and a little help from AI, we have been helping brands and retailers all around the world grow, especially through economically challenging times. AI represents a way to free marketers from the burdens of big data, whether you're just starting out and starting to collect your first-party data, or you're a little bit more advanced and you've been working with data and personalization all throughout. So hi everyone, my name's Diane Keng. I am the CEO and co-founder of Breinify, the leading AI personalization at scale platform. My career actually started at Apple, where I was the youngest algorithms engineer, working day in, day out with consumer behavior data. I then led the e-commerce engineering team at Symantec, where I had to collaborate really closely with marketers that don't necessarily come from a traditional data or engineering background. And from both these places, I realized that marketers are not data scientists, and engineers oftentimes prefer to work on product instead of implementing marketing tools. And even with senior leadership and your board kind of pushing down saying, hey, we have to get better customer experiences, being able to tackle personalization at scale is still incredibly tough. Today, more than 80% of the world's consumer enterprises, of the brands that we know and love, lack data science in their personalization. If you're one of the lucky few where you're able to attract data science talent, that's wonderful. But most of the time, data scientists get scooped up by all the big tech companies. And so we're being able to work with data in a really meaningful and impactful way can be incredibly difficult. And so this is a really common problem, actually, for brands all around the world. But as we know, AI is here and everywhere, from our phones to the news. We're constantly bombarded with lots of information about AI. Some a little bit more negative, like the top 10 jobs at risk, to some that's a little bit more positive, like the top 10 tools you should be using in your daily life. But believe it or not, as consumers, we are already working with AI on lots of different fronts. Just this morning, I woke up and I asked Alexa what the temperature was and then set my home temperature for the thermostat. And all in all, we as consumers are already starting to engage with AI in our daily lives. So now it's time to actually bring that more into our business side as well. So AI is making a revolutionary jump, very similar to what you may have heard of for the internal combustion engine or the internet. AI is kind of in that stage now where we're going to be expecting it as part of our daily lives. Really, the only time you're going to know that AI is not working is like the internet at your home when it suddenly fails and all of a sudden you're like, oh no, where has it gone? And that's where AI is headed. Soon AI will be one of those things that we just come to expect as part of our daily lives. And already 77% of the devices that we use today already has some form of AI or another. And so because of this, we're seeing a huge shift when it comes to consumer expectations. I can tell you our customers have been tripling down their digital spending to really focus on ROI, whichever way that each brand defines it, and really focusing on replacing those traditional A/B testing, recommendation, and segmentation tools with something that's a little bit more powered by contextual marketing that's really driven by data and by algorithms. So since this is a commerce conference, I thought let's actually start with a retailer. And so I actually want to welcome to the stage Matt Champion. He was the CMO at Bevmo that actually came and hired us. And I thought I'd let him tell you a little bit around the pain points that he was experiencing and what came out of it.
Diane, thank you. So I'm Matt Champion. I was the Chief Marketing Officer for Beverages & More. It's a 161 store liquor chain in California. It's in California, Washington, Arizona. So we sold a lot of wine during COVID. I came from Amazon when I took over as a CMO for Beverages & More. I was the head of marketing for Canada. So I step into retail store, coming from a great e-commerce platform, and we had nothing. The number one recommended product that we had on our entire site was limes. We sell 15,000 bottles. I mean, we have 15,000 bottles of wine in our stores, and the number one recommended product I had was limes, followed in number 2 by ice. Those are delightful things, but they're not very helpful for a liquor store to be able to have. Personalization did not exist at all for us. My team was curating each of the items that they were putting on the site, which led to fights with my merchants because my merchants wanted to have seltzer, or they wanted to have, whatever 808 tequila was, like a big one. And they're like, okay, we're gonna put it up there. I need it pinned to the top left. That's the most important place. Not helpful, because that stress and the amount of time that my team was spending curating those items got in the way of us just doing our jobs. So I brought Breinify in. They then went, next slide. They were able to go in and they were able to customize each of the placements that I had behind my own content. They were able to put offers in there so that I could incent shipping. If it was raining in Southern California, they would SMS text my customers and say free shipping because it's raining, because when it rains, people don't go to a liquor store. They go to Safeway and they just buy that one stop. They don't make a second stop. So sales go down by 60% anytime it was raining. So what would we do? We would send an SMS text within 2 miles of store locations to all customers, thanks to Breinify who did it automatically, offering free shipping. Not only did we stop the 60% bleed, we went up by about 15% for those stores because we're incenting new customers, well, not new customers, we're incenting customers to try shipping during it. That's the type of personal journey and vision that Breinify helped to bring, because that was a solution set I didn't even think of as a retail partner. I'm worried about the day in, day out. What can I put in the house? How do I get my Costco flyer and get more customers in? This turned into a story of every customer had a very personalized, very unique visit. If you're a Chardonnay shopper, I'm not going to show you the red wines. I'm going to show you the Chardonnays, and then I'm going to show you the things that you want in your basket. Next slide, Diane. So I didn't have time, I didn't have patience, and I had a 74-year-old head of IT who was in charge of all of my technical innovation. When I came to the company, his first words were, "It's not on my roadmap." I said, "Bob, I haven't even sent anything yet." It's true. And quite literally, Breinify was able to come in and set up, start the AI engine, and do full implementation in 7 days. That's a big deal. No implementation cost. It was great. Saved my bacon. Now, it says 51% year over year online sales. We started at 3.2% online e-commerce sales when I came in. Okay, now COVID hits, a couple months later. We went to 100% same store sales, e-com only, within 11 days. Because of Breinify. To be clear, we shut every store down on 18 March. 1 April is when I turned Breinify on. By 11 April, we were 100% same store sales, e-com only. By June, we were 2.5x, so 218, 220% total same store sales, e-com only. Huge benefit, could not believe it. Customized elements, saving time and money. Offers went, the number of offers and how we personalize those offers, I had to have a data scientist was doing all of my offer placement. Breinify was able to do that without me doing personas and the segmentation work. It did it based on buying behavior, and the predictive analytics were fantastic. That's what I have to say about that. So helped save some problems. When COVID hit, and this is one thing I'll just talk to real quick, we had 30 days of running capital, and it was a big bet. And it worked out pretty well. Now, granted, we're selling legal addictive substance during COVID, but I kind of figured, we're bringing a little bit of sunshine into what was a pretty dark and dreary time. After all of it ended, just kind of the end of the story, we went from, as I said, 3.8% e-com, 200+%, same store sales e-com in the middle of COVID, dropped back down to about 25%, and it was completely incremental. So from 3% e-com to 25% e-com on a sustained basis. And that's because of how the platform made it simple for consumers to have an experience online, on their phone, on the app that was all synchronized, personalized, and easy. Diane?
Thank you. And I think that's what makes it so important, that you cannot spell retail without AI. At the end of the day, your teams could be limited. There's lots of ideas and innovation, so how can you not be bogged down by the time that's invested to actually curate products or set promotions or execute to get something on your website? And most of the time, you'll find that a lot of the AI solutions out there are either email-based or they're web-based, and none of them talks to each other. So how do you make sure you have a holistic experience? We also work with Nestle, which is a little bit different of an angle in the sense that they don't sell their own products. However, they have over 3,000 amazingly delicious recipes, and their big problem was people were coming, they were finding the recipes, but they weren't actually staying there. They weren't engaging, they weren't exploring more. The second part was also they were working with an agency. I'm guessing many of you maybe work with agencies out here. And these agents were spending 8 to 10 hours a week just curating what should go onto the website. So imagine the cost that's there that you could be reducing. And last but not least, they're really unique in the sense that they're very language dependent. So they have recipes both in Spanish and in English. And you would think when you're on an English recipe, you should see more English recipes. And if you're on Spanish, you would see more Spanish recipes. Sounds pretty simple when I say it out loud, right? But this guardrail and this restriction made it really hard. They had a few potential vendors that they could work with, but it wasn't possible to do it out of the box. And more importantly, they would actually have to go and do custom development work just to make it be able to deliver what they needed to on the first try, but then it wouldn't scale up as they added more recipes. And so this was a really common thing where they realized that they couldn't move forward, and that's why they had to always use agencies to help curate and design. Within 2 weeks, we launched 6 different experiences for them to really focus on removing that cost of curating and removing that cost of agencies and really focusing on saying, if you came to a chicken recipe and you came in through search, maybe you would like to see more recipes with chicken. But maybe I came in through social on a Friday afternoon, and if I see a chicken recipe, I'm actually more interested in seeing things that complete this meal, like an appetizer or a dessert. So this understanding around what a person's going to be wanting and the ability to actually personalize from first visit, especially with Anonymous. I know every one of these solutions are always so focused on how can I personalize for users I know? Well, those users are maybe 5 to 10% of all of your visitors. And so why are we not personalizing on first land when others can, make it to your site as well? Within the first 6 months, we've been able to increase their return rate. Every single customer of ours and every partner we have has very different levels of how they believe in metrics. And so we're not here to reinvent your analytics. So we leverage the same Google Analytics that they have, but we help to drive more engagements. And this is where having an AI is really powerful, because in this case, you're not having to spend the time just to set things up the whole time. You can actually come up with really creative ideas and leverage them. But at the end of the day, AI is not a magic bullet, and the solutions and the examples that Matt and I just shared around Bevmo and Nestle, these only happen because of what we call the crawl, walk, run methodology. Many, I think, AI solutions today, as you're exploring more into the space, you'll find that many of them need time. They need to implement for maybe 6 to 9 months, and then you can start to use it, right? Or if you've worked in CDPs or DMPs or any of these acronyms, do you remember kind of blinking and all of a sudden 2 years have gone by and you were just launching, right? And so how can we think around this methodology to really focus on allowing and enabling the marketers to be smarter and to give them the hours back to reinvest back into their brand and into their consumers. And so being able to split test different algorithms and strategy is kind of where the next tier is. It's not so much about A/B testing a basic hard-coded journey. It's about saying, hey, is it better to weigh price heavier for this specific experience? Is it better to weigh a style or a tag that we have and use this to custom train your AI to fit your brand's needs? So at Breinify, our mission is to democratize data science. We're big believers to bring predictive personalization at scale, especially to the brands and retailers around the world that maybe don't attract as many data science talent. And we help with companies in all different stages, whether they're just starting out or they're a little bit more advanced and they're starting to work with different types of conditions and journeys. And we really focus on anonymous personalization that bridges into identifiable, and that goes across all your different channels. So imagine one AI to kind of rule them all, right? Instead of having an email AI, a web AI, an SMS AI, and none of the experiences being cohesive. This is our specialty and our bread and butter. But that being said, not all products are the same. And so when we say, it's not the same as when you have an AI as delivering and launching an AI. And so I thought what would be helpful as you guys are kind of exploring all these different amazing vendors and partners and just learning around the space, there's a few things I always like to ask when it comes to the AI world and to really assess if this is an AI for you. The first part is asking that hard question. Is it actually going to empower your teams, and is it going to bring in more capabilities? Is it returning hours back into their day so they can focus on more important things, like strategies and innovation tasks. And then, of course, with any AI, do you need to have your own overhead? Is the product flexible? Is it a lightweight thing for your IT team? Or are they going to catch you later on where they say, if you want more capabilities, you have to integrate more. Or if you want to do a different test, you have to code something. And all those maintenance that comes afterwards, it's not ideal, right? But at the end of the day, do you need to have your own data scientist to make a data science AI actually work? What are all the things that you need to make sure that this product is flexible through all the different integrations later on? The big question, how do you actually know that it's working? Because clicks impressions are actually not all that helpful when it comes to driving. It doesn't always lead to sales and engagements. So how can you really look at the metric and say, is it driving the bottom line? Getting more clicks is not all that valuable if it's not actually driving sales and the engagements or the actions that you're looking for. And last but not least, in the AI space, is there actually some sort of moat that they're bringing to the table? Meaning, do they have some sort of proprietary data or algorithms that's really industry specific for you? Is the product just generally really good, even if there wasn't AI? There's been plenty of times where a lot of our partners have come to us and said, I really just want to be able to change the banner that's on top of our homepage. But to do that, I have to go through a deployment cycle, and there's not really any smartness. If I have 20 promotions, how do I decide which one actually shows up there? And so these are the capabilities when we say, what are the differentiators when it comes to the AI? Is it going to get ahead of things? And if you buy a stapler, is it going to show you more staplers? Or is it going to say, oh, well, now you got a stapler, and now let's get some papers and some staples and maybe some pens that do well for you? Does it do that naturally on its own? So all these things are quite important when it comes to thinking around the assessment of an AI, especially for your brand. So a few key takeaways. We're at that day and age now where predictive personalization is a necessity for all of your own retail-owned or direct-to-channels that you have. It can be really menacing, and you'll find that many tools have their own flavor of AI in there. But can you really truly find one that can kind of supersede and transcend across all of your existing technology stack? And is it built to go across these channels and focus on the anonymous users? If you don't have a data science team, don't worry. 80% of the world's consumer enterprises don't have one that powers their marketing. But don't let that be the blocker for you, because actually AI empowers teams to really reduce cost. And for anyone that might find AI to be a little bit intimidating, find a partner that really focuses on this crawl, walk, run mentality, because it's quite important to think around how you get your toe into the water with AI, and they should build on top of the capabilities over time. So once again, my name's Diane. I have been in love with AI before it became cool. So if you're interested in learning a little bit more, we're on the 3rd floor at booth number 211.